And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Starting off with tomorrow's fire weather forecast or the fire danger forecast. Low across just about all of Alaska, the exception being here along the north side of the eastern Alaska Range, kind of a narrow band of high fire danger there for spruce. And in the Copper River Basin right there, that green shaded area signifying medium fire danger. From there, looking at satellite imagery, still had some rain and showers earlier today across the southeast coast, cloudy skies, more moisture streaming up to the northeast here out of the Gulf of Alaska into the eastern North Gulf Coast. Upper level system back here to the west, slowly moving eastward, and that bringing some pretty good rainfall amounts today up along the central and western Alaska Range into the northern Kuskokwim Valley, with areas of rain and showers across much of the interior today, all the way up to the eastern Arctic coast. Then drying out here over the southwest part of the state, and higher pressure here over the eastern Bering Sea ahead of this next system. You can see low pressure right in that area. Another development farther to the south, and the main front right through here, bringing some rain along with it. And on the forecast for tonight, look for gusty winds in advance of that front as it pushes in across the Bering Sea here. Should stay west of the eastern Aleutians, but periods of rain, gusty winds for the central Aleutians, showers farther to the west. High pressure gets nudged inland here and clears out, dries out. Still some lingering showers diminishing, especially over the mountainous terrain of the Talkeetnas and the Chugach Mountains. And more of that condition in over the central and eastern Copper River Basin up into the upper Tanana Valley, 40-mile country. Isolated showers for the central and eastern Brooks Range area. And pretty much more miss than hit here for the Arctic coast as this system spreads rain into the northwest coast and possibly as far northeast as Point Lay. This system here that we saw spreading northeastward today brings more rain into the southeast coast. So the heaviest amounts now up along the eastern North Gulf Coast and the northern Panhandle, with the lighter amounts down to the south. And for tomorrow, that front slides slowly eastward, so periods of rain continue for the central and southern Panhandle. Things become more showery and start to taper off up to the north. Weak trough here keeps some showers in over the eastern Copper River Basin. High pressure in the interior. Mostly sunny, fair conditions, Kodiak Island right up across south central Alaska, all the way up into the North Slope and possibly the eastern Arctic coast there. And this system out here to the west brings gusty southwest winds into the southwest coast, up into Norton Sound and the Bering Strait with gusty winds, Point Lay and or Point Hope and Cape Lisburne, maybe Point Lay to a lesser extent there. That's usually a good strong wind pattern for them up in that area of that front to the west and southwest flow. And that front trails back to this next developing low there for Adak and Atka, but stays dry for the eastern Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula, with the rainfall right along the coastline there, not making too much eastward progress until Tuesday. It comes inland a little bit more here with the front draped just off the coast. Low pressure south of St. Lawrence Island starting to weaken now. So winds will be coming down throughout the day on Tuesday. Breezy, wet conditions, Seward Peninsula up to the Noatak Valley. Maybe some of that spilling into the western Kobuk Valley. Definitely Selwyn, Kotzebue looking pretty wet, as well as the northwest coast, all the way to the eastern Arctic coast. And then, of course, rain with this front extending southward. Winds much less of a factor now with this southern portion of the front. As you can see, not too many lines on the chart here. There'll still be a little breezy, wet conditions, higher pressure over Adak and Atka, and a weak system way out there to the west, possibly bringing some light rain into that area. Central interior seeing a variably cloudy day, tending to increase a little bit farther to the west on the clouds. But the east side here, as you can see, pretty much cloud-free, so maximum sunshine from the eastern North Slope all the way down into the North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound. And pretty dry conditions now for the southeast coast. This weak system still keeps a chance of showers down toward Misty Fjords, maybe Ketchikan area there. And that's about it. Partly to mostly sunny for Kodiak Island. And again, with this system coming into the west, we've got coastal or high surf advisories out here for the Yukon Delta Coast, Nunivak Island, Kuskokwim Delta Coast as well, and still eastern Norton Sound, southern Seward Peninsula, up to the Bering Strait. That's a high surf advisory, 4 to 8 foot waves coming on shore there. Could cause some minor beach erosion. And from there, looking at the forecast for Wednesday, cool, showery, wet here in the west, drier, warmer in the east with generally just clouds here in the central interior. About sums it up there, but this system, as you can see, much weaker, so the rainfall amounts will be much lighter, but still quite an area here of wet weather and cloudy skies, keeping the temperatures cooler, warming back into the 70s for the eastern interior, Copper River Basin, northward into the Yukon Flats. This trough, showers, light rain, Bristol Bay to Kodiak Island, kind of linking up with the system down to the south. Southeast coast, a dry day, light winds, partly to mostly sunny skies, highs in the southern panhandle, maybe up to 65 to 70. And a system out here brings more rain into Adak and Atka. For the lows tonight, in the 30s for the Arctic coast into the North Slope, otherwise 40s here in the interior. And much of interior Alaska seeing lows in the 40s as well as the Bering Sea. Warmer though over the panhandle with high or lows in the mid to upper 50s. Highs tomorrow, 65 to 70 there for the southern southeast coast, and 65 to 70. In fact, forecast highs in the Susitna Valley warmer than they will be in the Tanana Valley, as you can see. Lower 60s there, mid 60s in the Yukon Flats, lower 60s here for the western interior valleys east of the Kuskokwim Mountains, 50s back to the west, and highs into the upper 40s and mid 50s for the North Slope out to the Arctic coast, and in the 50s for the Alaska Peninsula. Lows, not too bad, right around 50 here for the Bering Sea and the Aleutians, upper 40s there for St. Lawrence Island, and lows coolest on the east side here in the upper 30s to mid 40s, or lower 40s, all the way up to the eastern Arctic coast, lows in the 50s again for the Panhandle. Highs rebounding here with a lot of sunshine over the east side, lower 70s in the Copper River Basin, all the way up to the Yukon Flats, 60s, well into the 60s for the eastern North Slope, and again with the clouds and showers, cooler back to the west with highs in the 50s, and 50s across all of the Aleutians. Highs mid to upper 60s, some cases maybe even reaching 70, 71 over some areas of the southeast coast.